can hear me. Maybe say hello, hello. Beautiful. I think I am live. I don't know why it's saying I've been live for 4 minutes and it just clicked on. That is bizarre. But I hope this is working. If you guys can see me, let me know. Hello. There. Ta-da. Okay, it clicked into the live for me. So if you guys can hear me and you can see me, just let me know in the comments below. The live says I've been on for 4 minutes, so I don't know if you guys saw me getting ready over here or whatever, but it hasn't been 4 minutes. So that's a little weird. But anyways, welcome, welcome, welcome. As you guys can see from what it says above, today we're going to talk about why we must train our minds if we want health and healing. Hey Bird, welcome. Yay, I'm going to presume you can hear me. Mind training is the #1 most important thing that I have been practicing in my life and offering in my personal practice and in my work at Whole and Healthy Kitchen. It is something that each of us can do, and I really do believe must do for many reasons. But let's start at the top. First of all, before I dive into this juiciness, hi. I asked you guys in a poll yesterday what you wanted to hear. You mentioned that you wanted to know more about mind and mind training and how we have healing through mind training. And so I started to make this session for you, this training for you, and I realized how in-depth it was and how much I want to offer in this video. So I decided that I was going to make a YouTube video for it. So this morning I made a full YouTube video. It's like 30 minutes. It's beautiful. It's whole. But today I wanted to scratch the surface and just show you details. Like I'm going to show you this chart, this thing that I drew, so that you know more about mind and mind training. But the whole video is going to be sent on YouTube right after this, really, and I'm going to send it out to my email list so that everybody has it, because I feel like this should be something that everybody hears and everybody sees and everybody benefits by. And so I have links above to sign up for my newsletter if you haven't already, and I will be sending this out to every single person on my newsletter, and I'll probably share it in this group too, because I love you guys and that's just easy. But I just wanted to make mention that if you sign up to my newsletter, you will get the full video of this to your inbox, and it's going to have a lot more practical things for you to apply and really experience mind training for yourself. So with that out of the way, why do you need mind training? Do you know why we need mind training? Can you write below and let me know why you think we need mind training? I would love to hear what you think about that. But I believe that we all need mind training, because if you're someone who experiences like beating up on yourself, negative self-talk, where you think about or worry about the past a lot, and you are even worried and anxious about the future and what might happen, or just being unloving to you, doubting, low self-worth, low self-esteem, not feeling good enough, life just being super, super difficult to navigate and manage and not be overwhelmed by. All of these things are reasons why you need mind training. Mind training alleviates all of that. It alleviates all of that. And I'll show you why, but it alleviates all of that. And so if you want to overcome any of these things, mind training is the way to go. And it's at least something that you can do every single day consistently that adds up to really, really big results. So let me know if anything that I mentioned resonates with you. I know you're not alone. We all experience these things to some degree. 11 years ago, that was all of my experience. Today, they can float in, but because I have these mind training practices, I'm really vigilant for the truth in my mind, and I will teach you guys how to do that today. So then the next question is, okay, then I need mind training. So we recognize we need mind training. Step number 1, oh my God, there must be a better way than having all this clutter go on in my head. There must be another way. I'm ready for mind training. I need it. I want it. So how do we train our mind? So I break it down into 2 simple things. We train our mind by 1, educating ourselves, like educating ourselves. What is mind? What is my whole mind? Like what is mind training? What are my mind training options? So I'm going to go through a bit of that education today. I offer a lot of this education in my Kitchen Alchemy course. I have an entire module dedicated to it, lots and lots of videos, lots and lots of work and live trainings and all that stuff. And I do this in my one-on-one. So educating is so important, but then there's also practice. Just the daily practice and application of mind training. So we will experience a little bit of that practice today, but again, I include so much of the practices in the work that I do one-on-one with people. Oh, hey, everybody coming in. Hey, Deborah, you're saying good and blessed day to you. you. Oh, it's sunny blue sky in San Francisco today. That's beautiful. Did you see the story that I put up of me and Tom? It's from when we were in San Francisco, and I was pregnant with Ella, and I just started showing, and we were on one of the infamous trains that go through San Francisco. So I just was in the San Francisco vibes of posting that story this morning. So that's beautiful that you're here, Deborah. I love you so much. I'll take some of that sunshine. It's still cold here, but we got a little bit of sunshine, lots of snow. Hey, Angelica, welcome, honey. So glad you're here. So now that you guys know, why do you need mind training and how do you train your mind, let's dive into a little bit of the education side of the how, okay? So I first got introduced to this diagram. It's probably backwards here, unfortunately, but that's also why I'm doing another one of these on YouTube, because it's not going to be backwards for you. So I first came in contact with this diagram when I took my NLP training about 10 years ago, but I've upgraded it and I've added some things to it because it was a little bit limited. It showed you the egoic consciousness, but it didn't quite show you the Christ consciousness. And I'm all about us raising our consciousness, raising our vibration, raising our perception so that we can see through new filters. So I'm going to walk you through this a little bit. Over here, you can see that this is talking about our conscious mind. So our conscious mind is anything that we think, feel, and experience that is expressed through the physical senses of the body. So when we are looking upon our world, we are taking in the world through the senses of our body: our sight, our hearing, our touch, our smell, our taste, kinesthetic, feeling. Those are the ways that we take in the world. And something that's interesting to note is that there are 2 million bits of information per second that are flooding us to take in. Think of that, 2 million bits of information per second that we have to take in through the senses of the body. So how difficult would that be if we didn't have a filtration system? It'd be nearly impossible. So we do have a filter. This is our filtration system inside our consciousness. And the thing about this filtration system is it's individualized. Mine is completely different than yours. Yours is completely different than your partner's. Your partner's is completely different than your neighbor's. They're different because we all have different upbringings. If you're an A Course in Miracles student, you probably know this stuff already, but it's really groundbreaking work when it's new to you. So what's going on inside your filter? Everything from your beliefs, your programming from your parents, from your school, from the media, from magazine ads. This is everything from your attitudes to your beliefs to your values to anything that you have experienced being in time and space. And so it all gets stored here. So now imagine, for all the years that you've been alive, all of the junk that has been trapped into the filters. And the thing about this filter system is the mind does 3 things. Either when it's taking in the 2 million bits of information, either it deletes it, or it distorts it, or it generalizes. There's only really 3 things that it does. And so based on what your foundations are in your filters, we will act accordingly in our psyche. And then once our filter system is filled up with all this stuff, it becomes our internal representation of who we think we are. It literally becomes our identity, our personality, all the traits and characteristics that we think that we have. And since this internal representation is built on these filters, a lot of the time it's flawed. Because if you think about learning from parents and learning from religion and learning from teachers and media and stuff like that, I mean, everybody's doing the best that they can, but for the most part, I don't know about you, but for me, my parents had not really learned the way of life to be healthy, happy, whole, and live in purpose. And so because of that, they taught me erroneously. And so there was lots of mistakes that I had to undo, lots of blocks that I've had to undo, and we all have to undo these blocks and mistakes. We're all in this together. But it develops our internal representation, which at first is quite erroneous because it's based on erroneous filters. But that becomes our state. So basically our emotions, our emotional well-being, our state of being, which also becomes our physiology, which is our cells, our DNA, the makeup of our molecular structure, which then all together is what affects our behavior. I have to do my pointing backwards, which affects our behavior and our actions and how we show up in the world. So for me, when I work with people, for example, in Whole and Healthy Kitchen, over here in behavior is new recipes and new workflows and meal planning and meal prepping and all of those workflow things that have to do with being in the kitchen and cooking and loving the food that you eat, making it delicious and blah, blah, blah. All that stuff is really important, but it's the behavior. It is the effect. If you already struggle in the kitchen and you don't have motivation to do it, and you don't know what to cook, and you don't know how, and you have fear, and you doubt yourself, and you're overwhelmed, all of that is within your filters. If I don't help you to change your filters, you're never actually going to be able to show up in the kitchen and cook the way that you want to, and nourish yourself and care for yourself in the way that you want to, because your filters are full. So the process of mind training, what we are doing is we're clearing out these filters so you become an open channel to something greater than yourself. How's this landing on your heart already, you guys? Does this make sense? Is this clear? Is it understanding? I would love to know how this is resting on your heart and on your mind right now. Is it blowing your mind? Is it something you already know? Let me know. So this is first the representation of the inner world and why you need to train your mind. Because if you don't train your mind and you don't clear out this junk in here, your behavior is never going to change. And ultimately, we want our behavior to change. We want to be kinder and more gentle and more patient and more loving and more nourishing and, really care for ourselves and care for others. But we can't if we don't change our filters and we don't change our internal representation of who we think we are. So this leads to the next thing. Is the tools for mind training, because the tools for mind training help us to clear out these filters, like I said, to be open to a power greater than ourselves. And that's up here that I've added. It's the super conscious, okay? So the super conscious up here is the awareness of life eternal, like life beyond time and space, life before time and space began, right? Like the infinite, the love, the wholeness, the completion that exists as aspects of our soul. It is our soul being. It is our light being. It is our love being. It is who we are. It's the child of God that we are. So when we are looking at the world and looking at ourselves through this filter, we don't have access to the superconscious mind. Doesn't mean it's not there, because it is. It always is and never will not be there. But we don't have access to it because we're too busy listening to this voice. So mind training helps us to calm down, slow down, still this, undo this, clear this, so we can hear what the prompts of the soul, so we can hear the prompts of the spirit, and we can live a different life. That is where this second version of this, you can tell my daughter, I've got her coloring book. Anyways, this is kind of the second version of self that happens when we clear out all these filters. Notice how there's one filter here, and this is the altar. This is the inner altar of love. This is the inner altar of Christ. This is the inner altar of light. This is our true self, our true spirit here that exists inside of ourself already. And the effects of that are love, peace, joy, creativity, nourishment, wholeness. Everything that we want to have and to be, it exists in us already. We've just got to clean out the junk. So let's talk about some of the ways to mind train. Like, what are some mind training tips? I go deeper into this, by the way, in the video that I made. So get it on that newsletter list so that you can get it sent to you. So much juiciness. But let's discuss some of those tips for mind training. Let me know what you do. What do you do for mind training? I see you guys here. Let me pause for a second and see what you're having to say before we move to this next section. Studying and meditating with the daily lessons of the A Course in Miracles since 1989 has really helped me, along with listening to all my wonderful videos on ACIM lessons every day. Thank you, Deborah. You are a guiding light in my life. I love you so deeply, and you emanate the principles of the A Course in Miracles, which is peace, right? The goal of A Course in Miracles is peace, peace for us and peace for others. And that's really beautiful that that's been your practice. That's been my practice too. And yeah, for some of you who may not know, I've done all 365 lessons on the A Course in Miracles. On YouTube, and they're found. If you want them, I'd be happy to send you links. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you so much. I will send love to Ella and Tom for you as well. Thank you. Bern, glad it makes perfect sense. Perfect. Ines, perfect sense. Awesome. Hello, brother. Welcome. Hi, Anshuman. Welcome. Thank you. I'm glad you like the topic too. And you have a question. How can we be in tune with the subconscious? Perfect, 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 because that is what I'm leading into. So the best way to be in tune with the subconscious, which, as I have mentioned, all of these things are part of the subconscious. Like, once we take them in through the physical senses of the body, they become part of your subconscious makeup if you accept them, right? If you don't delete them, they'll just kind of be fleeting and you won't even pay attention. But if you accept them as part of, like, what's true for you, then that becomes part of your subconscious. And your subconscious is really just the storage container for all of these things. So the best way to get in touch with your subconscious is to ask to see it. That's it. I'm willing to be healed. Like, I'm willing for healing. I'm willing to see the stuff that is in my subconscious. Thank you for showing it to me one thing at a time so it's not overwhelming for me. Like, thank you for my willingness to heal and to see. And if you just ask to see, your life will bring it to you. Like people that I work with one-on-one in coaching, for example, we'll meet one day, we'll have discussions about these things related to their life. They go away for a week. Their life and their universe brings to them the lessons that they need to deepen and triggers them in the way that, for them to see what they need to heal first. And that's how I do it. It's not like when we meet together one-on-one, we're going to go through this all in one time and all together. No, it's really one thing at a time. And every single day you get better and better and better at this process. But it starts with asking, okay? And the second one is just watching, observing. So just do this with me for a second. So like close your eyes. Just breathe. Be relaxed for a moment. And I want you to just observe. Observe your mind. Observe what's crossing consciousness. In this moment, you might be quite still. I mean, we are in an energetic container here of healing, and often stillness comes with that because healing happens when we rest and settle deeply into the parasympathetic system, and we enter in that space through meditation or prayer, or hypnosis, or breath work, intention. And so since you're already here, the intention is for more stillness. So it might be more quieter than normal, but I want you to observe. Maybe it's still loud, maybe it's still rambunctious and going all over the place, but just notice what you're thinking. No judgment, no trying to change it even, just be aware. And you will notice that when you are observing your mind, like you are the observer. If you're the observer and you're the witness to your mind, you cannot possibly be the thoughts in your mind. You can't be. They're just thoughts. They're thoughts, things that you've accepted along this path of being on life on earth, but they're not the truth about you. And so if you take that position of being the witness and being the observer and not being the thoughts themselves, that creates space and gives you the opportunity to choose again. It gives you the opportunity to be like, wait a minute, this thought that I'm thinking about myself as being like not worthy, not good enough, all of these things, is that really something that I want to believe? Is that really something that I want to think is true? And you start to question, and then you can choose the thoughts that you think and not just let them be there, because they don't have to be there. You accepted them at one point. You can let them go at the next point. And so what I would recommend is, if you're just starting to become aware of what is in your subconscious, is to sit with a journal, get quiet, and just be like, what am I thinking? What am I thinking about myself? What am I thinking about my work? What am I thinking about my lack of work? What am I thinking about COVID? Like, what am I thinking about my brothers? What am I thinking about? What am I thinking about? And just get it out. Just start writing. Brain dump. Don't filter it. Don't judge it. Just get it out. And once you get it out and you see it, then you can work with it. Then you can question, be like, is this really what I want to think? Is this really what I want to believe? Is there another way to see this? What is this here to teach me? Where did I learn this from? Who taught this to me? Like, I don't want this anymore. And then you go through that process of sifting and sorting between what is, and consciously now, between what you want to keep in the container of your subconscious mind and what you want to let go of. All of these things are tools that I offer in my Kitchen Alchemy course. We go through belief work. We go through reframing your beliefs and your thoughts and your stories. We go through more mind training tips. I even give you a whole tool bag of mind training tips in my Kitchen Alchemy course. So it's really potent and powerful, the work that we do together there. But this is also stuff that I work with others one-on-one. It kind of depends on your needs and what works for you at the time where you're at in your life. But that's really important. And I find too, like that's just like mind training as in mind awareness, mind watching. I even put in my stories yesterday about like a mental diet. Like, put yourself on a mental diet. I don't like physical diets with food. I'm not about deprivation at all whatsoever. I'm about nourishment and wholeness. But when you're on a mental diet, all that is you committing to not accepting negative thoughts into your mind. That's all that is. Committing not to let negative thoughts be accepted into your mind. Negative thoughts will cross consciousness. Negative thoughts will try and creep in. Like, past habits will try and creep in. But your job is to be vigilant against that and to be like, no, I don't want this. And I find for me, when I recognize a negative thought, so I have, I think I used this example last week, but whatever, it's coming up again. But when I accidentally knocked over like 3 glasses in one day, this is before my cat, it was all me, but I knocked them over and I broke them. And I hear the thoughts in my head like, what the F is wrong with you? Like, mean, cruel, harsh words. And instead of just like going along with that train of thought, getting upset at myself, feeling bad, feeling guilty, I was like, whoa, I don't want to think that about myself. And I literally like energetically, emotionally, inside my mind, visually handed over those thoughts of hate and judgment of myself up into the superconscious. If you see them here, superconscious is at the top. Like just give it up, hand it over to spirit, hand it over to the light, just command it. I command this to leave from me. I don't want this. And then I generally go into, okay, well, what do I want to think instead? What do I want to believe instead? And then that is where you're asking something greater than yourself to give you a new way of thinking. So like, it's okay. Like, what did you learn in this? Okay, well, I really need to slow down. You know, I need to be more mindful when I'm working in the kitchen. You know, I really need to, you know, be more patient with myself. And then you start focusing on the solution versus the problem. And that is mind training. That is mind training. That is what it is all about. And through this process, your subconscious mind will show you what is in it. It can also be helpful to have a guide. I mean, I guide people through hypnosis to help them to see what is in their subconscious as well, which can be really helpful. And the thing with something like hypnosis or breath work, both of which are offered in my Kitchen Alchemy course and my one-on-ones, is that when you are settling into breathwork or hypnosis or something like that, what it does is it bypasses the conscious mind. So it bypasses this conscious mind over here, and it goes straight to what is in here. And once you're in here, this is where we literally can activate your DNA. This is where we can activate your state. This is where we can activate your internal representation and start shifting them and changing them and reworking them. And you literally start to change from the inside out. And what this does then is, because all this now is calmed, it's reinterpreted, it's seen differently, you become like this open channel and vehicle for the superconscious. And this is where the remembrance of the eternal comes in. This is where the remembrance of your love being comes in. This is where the remembrance of all things created out of love, by love, and for love come in. And it moves so far past just the idea of love. It becomes experience, like a universal, close, intimate, personal experience where there is no doubt. There is no doubt. It's a remembering, right? And then this allows you to really move past all this past programming and reprogram yourself to believe and think and feel and show up in a completely different way here in your kitchen and parenting and life. So sometimes when I work one-on-one with people, one session is enough, and they're just like, whoa, like that changed my world, that rocked my world, I'm done. But then some people is a more longer commitment, where over time we slowly evolve and, you know, awaken and heal and work through all of these things. It just depends on what works for you. But those are the main things that I wanted to touch upon, you guys, today. As I mentioned, there's a lot more in the video that I made for YouTube, but this is the main thing that I wanted to get the point across. Why you need mind training, what mind training is, and what the mind is, and that's it. So yeah, how is this landing, you guys? Does that make sense? Did that answer your question, Andrew Man? Let me know if that answered your question. Other tips for mind training are daily meditation, you know, reading helpful books that speak to your soul, really setting up solid care practices, predominantly in the morning and the evening. I say this all the time, but they're part of the mind training, right? I find what I eat really makes a difference in what I think as well. It affects me on a molecular level, a cellular level. But if we're wanting to change what we eat, again, it changes, we have to change inside and how we see it. So even the subtle shifts that some of my clients have experienced, where they'll be like, okay, I'm eating and feeding my kids so that they're not hungry. Ultimately, you don't want your kids to be hungry. You don't want to be hungry. But that's not really exciting. That doesn't jazz you up, bring you joy. But when you start to shift your internal representation and you start to shift your inner filters, and instead you start to look at food as a way to nourish the growing body and brain of your children, and a way to really deeply love and care for yourself and your own well-being, that changes things, because then it like jazzes it up and it makes it more exciting, and it makes it something that you actually want to do instead of something that you have to do. And so that's why shifting how you see things shifts everything. It shifts your behavior. It shifts everything that you do, because you're going at the cause. The cause is in the mind, and the effects in the experience. The effect is like when you're watching a movie and it's projected on the wall, and you're trying to like wipe away the wall because you don't like that scene in the movie. You can't do that. You have to go back to the projector. You need to change the projector. You need to change the movie. You need to change the script that's running in order for the movie to change. Okay, so that's what we're doing here. We're taking you back to the projector, changing the script, changing the voice that you hear, so that you project something completely differently, and the story for which you show up in your life is different. And yeah, beautiful. Any good book recommendations on the topic? Yes. Of Course in Miracles is always number one. That is, but I don't feel like A Course in Miracles is for everyone per se. That's why I don't go around telling everybody to do it. I think that it calls you on a deep soul level and you know that it's right for you. The second one that I recommend is called 3 Magic Words by U.L. Anderson. So it's U-E-L-L Anderson. That's also really good. It's got lots of meditations in there. It has a lot about the mind. The third one that I'm going to recommend is called The Power of the Subconscious Mind. And actually, Nikki, one of our community members here in our group, got it. And after the second chapter, she's like, oh my God, mind blown. She's like, and then she saw like her life in a completely different light because it showed her why she has things in her life the way she does now based on the things she was thinking and believing and holding to. So The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. That's another fantastic one. So I would stick with those 3. Those are pretty powerful texts on mind training that can really be helpful and beneficial to you. Enos, you say, I enjoy listening to my thoughts and my reactions to literally everything I see. Exactly. How do I feel? Upset versus calm, for example, and go from there. I also enjoy sitting in silence while everything slows down. Beautiful examples of mind training and practically applying it in your life. Enos is a Kitchen Alchemy member too. He's part of our community, if you guys felt called to be part of it. But he has it nailed on the head. When we can recognize how we feel and pause and be like, okay, how am I feeling? Is it fear? Is it overwhelm? Is it happy? Is it excited? What are you feeling? And you label the feeling. You automatically know if you're coming from this place, which is fear-based, or you're coming from this place and it's love-based. So it's always between love and fear. Those are the 2 choices inside of our psyche. And so that it'll allow you to know if you're listening to like true guidance of the soul or if you're just listening to your past programming. And no matter what the outcome, be grateful for it, because either it's there for a lesson for you to undo and heal something, or you're receiving guidance, and that's something to be grateful for in and of itself. And I think what he's also saying was just like sitting and like letting yourself slow down. It's everything. I do that at least some point every single day. I made a post about that the other day about like doing nothing and taking your time to really just do nothing. Don't scroll on the phone, don't, be busy trying to do anything. Just be still, and especially in nature if you can, and things calm down and your mind calms down and your body system calms down and you're much more able to hear and listen, understand, process, forgive, all of those things that you need to do. And I think what's important here is remembering that it's not you that does the healing. It's not even me that does the healing. It's the spirit in me and the spirit in you that does the healing. So you have an internal guide to guide you. And the number one thing that you need to remember to do is ask for help. Just ask for help. And in your own experience, you will realize this is true. It's not even just me telling you. It's something you will experience in your life. So just know that your superpower is asking, and ask for help. Burned. Whenever one experiences healing, the ego will try to make good on lost ground. That's when mind training is extremely important. That is a really good point too. That's actually another book I'm going to mention. It's called The Big Leap by someone else, but he talks about like the upper limit problems. So like when you actually experience a healing or experience a positive day, or you ate really well that day, you're like, yeah, I'm doing so awesome. Your ego doesn't want you to feel good. So it's going to sabotage you immediately. And it's going to, oh, well, that was just one day. Oh, you can't keep this up. Oh, look, you ate that donut. Look, you screwed up everything. It's going to chirp at you and try and bring you down. In that book that I just mentioned called The Big Leap, he talks about it in the framework of being like an upper limit problem. In my Kitchen Alchemy course, we call it faulty problem solving approaches, right? So the ego is trying to solve your problems in the wrong way. And mind training is extremely important for those moments so that we realize, oh, ego, you're trying to be, that's not me, and I'm not going to listen to you. Sorry. But if you don't know that it's ego and you don't know that you can choose, then you just go on that spiral downward, which is difficult, right? Nobody likes that. Nobody wants. Hey, Angelica, you're saying this is life-changing. Removing the blocks has allowed the real me to show up in situations that I couldn't even handle before. Oh, I just got tingles all over. Angelica and Burned, you guys are all Kitchen Alchemy students. And I think that this is what happens when we get into this place of like conscious awareness of self, that we realize like, wait a minute, first and foremost, I deserve happiness, I deserve peace, and I want it. Just like I said at the beginning, wow, I realize I need mind training. I realize I need help. You deserve health and happiness, and it's possible for you. And when we start to do that, then we really can have the experiences of getting in touch with our wholeness and getting in touch with the love that we are. And it is life-changing, literally life-changing, because the quality of life that we had and experienced before with all those filters versus the quality of life we experience after when we clear out all these filters, it's completely night and day. Fear, love, doubt, faith, and certainty, just negativity and like positivity and forward motion action. Like it's completely different world. And that I have something in my eye, y'all. And so that's really something so important to point out. And I've seen the growth and evolution in you, Angelica, and you're so inspiring even to me with your commitment to these principles and having it work in your life. I love hearing your stories. It's beautiful. And that's the thing, like it confirms to me that miracles and truth is true when I see it happen in other people as well as myself. That's when you can't deny it. That it's like, this is a shared thing. What's going on in the superconscious is like the hardware programming that can never be undone. It is the truth of our being that always exists inside of us. It's just hard to access it and remember it when we're caught in the old programming and the old thought system. And so we all need mind training. So, yeah, you guys, I feel quite complete with what kind of came out today. As I've already mentioned a bunch of times, there's a fuller video on this where I go in even more in depth. Just sign up for my newsletter above if you haven't already. Feel free to DM me anytime if you want more information or details about anything. My heart is open to being of service in the most ways that I can. And if you guys have any further questions after this, just ask them below. And so that's it, you guys. I love you. Thank you for being with me. Happy Friday. I hope you have an amazing weekend. And maybe we all just want to be like, okay, after this video, I'm going to commit to a mental diet, which means being vigilant for love in your mind, which also means not accepting any negative thoughts that cross your consciousness. And just do that. Oh, negative thought, hand it over. Oh, negative thought, hand it over. And just keep handing them over. And in the process of handing them over, you'll start to see them differently as well. Because if you're asking for this healing and you're asking to let go of what no longer serves you, you're in alignment with the principles of this loving universe that wants you to be healthy and happy and whole. Because that's what you were created to be. So that's it, my friends. I love you so much. Thank you for being with me. Enjoy your weekend too, Burned, and everybody else who's on here. I love you guys so much. You're my family. And I will see you next week. Absolutely, Angelica. Thank you for being here. I love you being part of this beautiful community. I feel so blessed to be in this position, to be able to do this every day. Thank you, God. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Anshuman. Thank you, guys. I will see you soon. Bye.